Hey guys, Phillips here. Welcome to a brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Today I have real specific stuff I'm trying to get. Jaws 2 through 4 came out today on Blu-ray. Finally got Blu-ray releases. They were supposed to come out on Blu-ray like years back and then they ended up getting canceled. So now they're finally coming out, but I have a feeling they're going to be ones that I'm probably going to have to order off Amazon because it doesn't really look like there's going to be many places that carry them in store. It doesn't look like Best Buy is going to have them. I called Barnes & Noble already and they don't seem to have them, but we'll look too, because Target could possibly get them, maybe Fry's, not 100% certain, but I'm going to look anyway just to see if they have them, because it would be cool to actually get them in person, so we'll see. Also going to have a couple new DVD and Blu-ray reviews at the end of this video as well, so anyway though, definitely stay tuned for those ones. So anyway though guys, let's get going and see what we can find today. Into Target we go. In the front though, the only thing I see in here was, a 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I don't seem to see any, special edition of this one here, like a Steelbook or anything. I'll have to look in the section to see if they have anything. And then London Has Fallen, and this was like a sequel to, I think, Olympus Has Fallen, and it's kind of weird too, like, I don't remember people like really loving Olympus Has Fallen, so it's kind of odd they made a sequel to it. I don't even know if it has a huge connection to it or not, but let me know if this one's any good or not at all. I've seen some negative reviews about this one, but it kind of looks like it could be interesting. Like I said, I don't know a ton about what it's about though or not on this one. Yeah, I don't see any exclusive editions over here of 10 Cloverfield Lane. I don't think they have any ones in here. This is another one that came out today, Eddie the Eagle. That's actually a pretty cheap price, only $14.99. I saw this one in theaters. This was actually pretty good. I remember though after I saw it, I was reading about it, and like it wasn't like as much true stuff as they said. Like a lot of stuff was changed, for the movie of this. And this one was out today as well, Get a Job, and it's another one I saw a lot of negative reviews on, so don't know too much about this one or not. I always like Anna Kendrick and Myers Teller, so I feel like I'm probably get this one down the line, but like I said, if you guys have seen this one, it's worth picking up, let me know. Like I said, I don't know a ton about what it's about though, but it kind of looks interesting. It's like, McLovin's in it as well, so I don't know. And they have on sale now, It Follows, the Steelbook one, for $9.99. That's a really, really good price for that one. But I don't see over here, any of the Jaws. I've looked through all the aisles and don't see them, Jaws 2 through 4. So I guess we'll look at Walmart though and see. But I have a feeling, like I said, it's going to be one I'm going to have to probably get online. This is already in here now for only $13, like on sale. This came out last week, so they really put down the price low on that now. And one thing I want to mention too is a lot of people say like, oh, you should go to like mom and pop kind of places to look for stuff in stores to see if they end up having them. The shame is though, there aren't too many out here mom and pop kind of stores. Like I wish there was more of them. Even when I used to live in Maryland, there really wasn't too many. The only kind of weirder places that are out here are like Book Off, but that's all used stuff and they don't really have anything new unless it's, a couple weeks after somebody, traded it in and got rid of it. But other than that, there really aren't too many ones. Even like up in LA, the only one that's like that I can really think of is Amoeba Records. There aren't like tons of them anymore. And one thing I just saw too was like they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy was Go Hastings. And I had a feeling that might happen because they bought a couple years back, I think 2 years ago, Movie Stop locations, which are not out here, but I used to go to them in Maryland. And like I had a feeling when they were closing all of those down, I had a feeling that it might not be good for Go Hastings. And that's one of those stores I had never ever gotten to go to, and was planning to like take a trip up to Arizona and go to like some movie stores and stuff like that and try and go to one. But now I don't think I'm ever going to get to go to one. Like I don't know if they're going to stay open or not. I really hope they don't all close, but it's a shame though, because it's like more and more places like that just keep closing down. So who knows, maybe they'll be able to keep, stay open and, get past it, but I have a feeling it's not a good sign for it. But maybe, they'll last a little while longer and I actually get to go to one, because like this fall or so, I really want to take a trip up there and go to some weirder spots in Arizona and stuff for some movie hunting videos and just seeing some weird locations and stuff up there. Into Walmart we go. As you can see, this location got a new look. It's like one I usually go to a lot, and like they must have just in the last like week repainted this, because last week it was totally different looking. Like the paint is different on the side, and then the logo is different and everything. And I don't see any exclusive editions in here of 10 Cloverfield Lane, but they do have a thing in here which is kind of interesting. With all the Land Before Time movies together in one collection, they've actually made 14 of them. I think it's like $39 for all of them together. That's kind of cool to have all of them together like this in one set, because it's like crazy they made 14 of these movies, and I think they even have more coming out soon. And there are a couple different ones in here today. This one I didn't see last week, called Dark, which looks kind of interesting. It's Joe Dante produced this one. Don't know a whole ton about what this one's about. And and they actually have in here, in store, The Abandoned, which is a pretty cool one that Scream Factory put out, about this girl gets a job in this kind of like weird old building, and it's like her and Jason Patrick in there as security guards, and weird things start happening in there. And same with another one, I think this came out in here last week, The Funhouse Massacre. I didn't see it in store though. This is a pretty cool one about these, you know, mental patients that break out of the nut house and then, you know, start killing people in a local like haunted attraction. You know, Clint Howard's in this one, and Robert Englund. I actually really thought that was a pretty cool movie. And this, I believe, was today, Independence Day. It's like Asylum's takeoff on Independence Day. But it's funny is they can just put the apostrophe like after the S as opposed to before it. And I think that's, other than that, they're just like the same exact title. It's really kind of funny they can call it that. You know, sometimes when they have titles that are really similar, they end up having to change them again down the line. And this one, I don't think I showed this one yet. Hunting Season, this Eric Roberts, Tom Sizemore movie. Don't know a ton about this one. And Colonia, which I believe was today as well. And I talked about this in my last video. Really love this movie about Emma Watson's character who goes to this kind of weird, kind of religious, kind of commune place because her boyfriend gets taken in there by the Chilean police. This is a really, really good one. Really like that one a lot. But other than that, I think that's all the main things that came out in here this week that are different, at least as far as I can tell. This one might have been different, this Arabian Nights, but don't really see any other different ones here though. Into fries we go. And they actually have a bunch of different stuff on sale in here today that they didn't even have last week, like R.I.P.D. for $4.79, which was actually not a bad movie. I actually kind of like this one. I have this one, but they actually now have in here for $4.79, Red Dragon, which they didn't have this the last couple of weeks, because I kept looking to see if maybe they put them out, but now they finally have it in here. And I don't even know if I've ever actually even seen this. I'm pretty sure this was the remake of Manhunter, but this time they had Anthony Hopkins in the role. But definitely going to pick this one up, because this is one I had wanted to see again. And I like I said, I actually not even see it again. I may not have ever even seen it in the first place. I'm not sure. But I'm in the J's and I don't see Jaws. I don't see any of them at all. I don't even see the first movie in here. So I have a feeling, like I said, it's probably going to be one of those ones that I end up having to get off of Amazon, because it doesn't seem like anywhere in stores have them at all. I feel like down the line, in a couple weeks or a month or two, they'll probably end up getting them in some places. But as of now, it doesn't seem like it's going to be, you know, happen finding it in any stores. Into Best Buy we go. And they have one thing in here, it's like for dads and grads, a bunch of stuff on sale. They have like Straight Outta Compton, but no steel, you know. They have one thing here too, it's just like for dads and grads, like a bunch of stuff on sale, like Straight Outta Compton for $12.99. It doesn't have the slip cover on that, but a really good price on that. And same with, they have, you know, Jurassic World, $12.99. They have this one too, in that kind of tin case. It was like the, well, I think the Total Recall was in that case years ago, one of them, of the moon. And they have a couple other things in here, like Daria, the complete series, for only $14.99, which is really good price on that. And then a number of other ones on here for sale as well. That keeps like falling, like it's going to drop to the ground. And they have, you know, World's End, $4.99, a couple other ones. And the only place that seems to have an exclusive edition is Best Buy, that has the exclusive Steelbook packaging of 10 Cloverfield Lane. I think it's $27.99. It seems like their price, I guess, is $27.99 for even the general release one, but I feel like that's cheaper in some of the other places I've seen for just the general release one, as far as I could tell. Other than that, though, I think like some of the other things that are in here today, one of the ones I saw on the front was like The Young Messiah, and this one was today, Hello, My Name is Doris, and this was actually a pretty fun movie, you know, Sally Field movie. I actually really liked this one a lot. But other than that, not too many other things in here. I know the X-Files came out today too, this one, which was the event series, which was like, you know, it's only a few episodes because it kind of was like almost like a pilot for if they were going to bring the show back, and I think they're bringing the show back again for another full season. I'm not 100% certain about that, but I think I saw something about that. And I think this might have been today too, the Scenario Chronicles or something like that. I don't know what this one is, but I think this may have been today. And I believe Bowlers was today as well. And I talked about this one in one of the last videos with, you know, The Rock in this one. This is kind of a cool show, sort of like Entourage. But no luck finding Jaws, you know, Jaws 2 through 4 on Blu-ray. Went to all the places, like I said, I even called Fry's and I called Barnes & Noble, and none of them ended up getting it. And there's no, like I said, specialty kind of shops that I can think of that could have it. So I end up, you know, it's going to end up getting them off of Amazon. I had a feeling that was going to happen. Like I said, I feel like In a few weeks to maybe a month or so, they may start getting them in some places in person, but you never really know. I know there's some of them that's going to have movie cache on them, so if some people are staying online, maybe they're going to wait and put them out in stores, you know, closer to the thing that the movie cast is for, is I think the new Bourne movie, I think, so maybe then they'll get them in there. But anyway though, guys, that's all for the shopping video, and stay tuned now for a couple new DVD and Blu-ray reviews. And the first one I got from Arrow Video UK is a really cool Steelbook release of the Burbs. So keep in mind it's a Region B release, so you have to have a Region free player to play this one. But really cool release. Like I said, this one actually came out in the US. You know, Universal put it out, you know, in Best Buy only one a couple weeks back. The only thing with that one is it doesn't have any features. All it has is the alternate ending. This edition, though, from Arrow has some really cool features on here. Has a documentary on here, which is like an hour and 10 minutes, you know, talking to Joe Dante, talking to Corey Haim, a number of the other actors, and behind the scenes people talking about, you know, how the movie came to be, you know, how he got cast, and a whole bunch of stuff on here. And a really cool feature is a work print. Joe Dante ended up finding the original work print that he cut for this movie really early on, you know, on a VHS tape, and it has a bunch of different deleted scenes and some alternate scenes in here. They have a feature on here too as well, where they talk, you know, a commentary track over those deleted scenes, talking about why they were cut, and also like some facts in there too, like where they fit in there, and like what the alterations are with them. Like some of the scenes were actually just a little bit different, like a few little things changed, or like an additional second or two of dialogue and stuff like that. But if you guys haven't seen Burbs, it's basically about Tom Hanks, who lives in this cul-de-sac kind of neighborhood. You know, and it's kind of him, he's kind of friends with everyone. It's one of those neighborhoods where everyone kind of gets along with each other, and this weird new people move into the house that's been vacant a long time, this really rundown kind of house. These guys move in there. You never really see them. They're always kind of wondering what's up with them. The one guy, played by Courtney Gaines, is kind of lurking around. He kind of reminded me, I always used to kind of think of him as like Boo Radley, because I saw this movie around the same time I saw To Kill a Mockingbird, so I used to always kind of associate this movie in a weird way with To Kill a Mockingbird, with like the idea of the neighbor, and you never knew what he was up to, and it kind of had that kind of vibe to this. But basically though, you know, Tom Hanks and his friends characters are kind of figuring out what's going on here, what is with these neighbors. They see really weird lights going on at night, and they kind of hear weird sounds and odd stuff's going on. They see them mess with things in the trash and digging up things in the backyard and all these kind of stuff, and it's kind of them trying to figure out what is going on with them and what are they doing. Even one of the neighbors goes missing, and they think that these neighbors kill them. They're kind of like basically become as obsessed as possible about figuring out what is up with these neighbors. But a really, really cool movie, always one of my favorites, and a really cool release from Arrow. The next one from Paramount is a Tina Fey movie, so I didn't get to see this one in theaters, called Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Margot Robbie's in this one, you know, who's going to be in the Suicide Squad film. This is basically about Tina Fey's character, who's this, you know, works for a news station. It's set in 2006. They're kind of trying to, they need more news people over in, you know, Afghanistan, because they really don't have a lot of coverage there. So they're kind of trying to figure out how they're going to get people to go over there. And a lot of people who work there have families, have kids, and they can't ask them to go over there. They kind of narrow it down to a group of people who don't have any kids, who are not married, and don't really have anything that ties them down. And Tina Fey's character is part of that group. So she reluctantly says, okay, I'll go over there. You know, she has a boyfriend, but she says, you know, I'm only going to be over there for 3 months, and then I'll be back. So she ends up deciding to go out there, and of course though it ends up becoming, you know, not 3 months, it becomes, you know, a really long time. You kind of figure out exactly why she stayed, all the stuff that she goes to, and it's also dealing with her kind of having like a culture shock of going over there. She's kind of working with the army guys who are there too, trying to get along with them and try and not get in their way, because she's trying to interview them and trying to get all this news coverage and talk to them about what's going on and all that kind of stuff. But it has on here though deleted extended scenes, and then a making of on the movie, and a number of different featurettes. But a pretty interesting one. Like I said, I didn't get to see this in theaters, but definitely a different movie too for Tina Fey too. The next one, this is one I had never seen from Olive Films, and I don't know how I had missed this one. It stars Kathy Bates, and Eddie Furlong is in this movie, and I think he did this movie like right after Pet Sematary 2, so it's around that time. It's a movie called it's called A Home of Our Own, and it's basically about Kathy Bates, who worked at this kind of like factory, potato chip kind of factory, and she ended up having something happen to her at work, and she got basically frustrated and decided that she's done living in the city, so she she gets all of her kids together, and they all get in the car. They don't know where they're driving to. It's kind of like driving out in the middle of nowhere. She's like, I know when we get there, I know we're there. I know that this is going to be home when I see it. So they're driving through the middle of nowhere, and they spot this really run down, kind of unfinished house. And she's like, that's it. That's where we got to live. This is the house we got to be in. Of course, it's not finished at all. It's all, there's no roof or anything. She sees the owner who owns the land and talks him into, letting them work off the land. And, Edward Furlong's character kind of helps around his house and does all these chores. And it's kind of like she's always kind of trying to find ways to get things for nothing, basically for chores and stuff like that. So it's basically a movie, though, about her and her family coming together to try and finish this house and build this house together and make a home. But, of course, it's like they have all these problems along the way with, like, having no money for things for school, and Edward Furlong's character needs clothes and all. It's all these kind of issues and stuff that are going on while she's trying to figure out stuff. It was actually a pretty good movie. I actually really like this a lot. The one actress too in this, the one sister was from Dennis the Menace, who played Margaret, and she was also in House Arrest. And I don't know. I thought this was a pretty good movie. Like I said, like an Edward Furlong movie that I had never seen in my life. The next one, this is a really sad movie from Olive Films as well. Both these two have great transfers on them. This is called Cornbread, Earl and Me. Another one I had never seen before, and it's actually Forrest Whitaker's very first feature film. I think he did like a TV thing before this, but his first feature. He was actually really, really good in this, and I didn't even know he started acting that young. I think he was like 13 or 14 in this. It's basically about, this basketball player called Cornbread who's getting ready to go to college. He's going to really make something for himself, and he's like really promising basketball player. And there's these cops out on the street one day that are chasing after this bad guy that they think has stolen something, and Cornbread's character ends up being in the wrong place at the wrong time. He's kind of just running through the streets to run home because Forrest Whitaker's character is saying, "Oh, I bet you can't get home in 20 seconds." So since they see him running, those cops think that he's the perp. They're not paying attention. They end up shooting him, and he dies. And it's really sad. That whole scene was really, really sad. And it's basically, though, Forrest Whitaker's character saying, "You killed him," and blaming him because they did kill him. It's kind of like them trying to clear the Cornbread's name because it's kind of spreading around like he could have been a criminal, and the family wants to do anything they can to clear his name so people don't think that he actually did something wrong. It's a very, very sad movie. It deals with a lot of courtroom kind of scenes as well, but really like this one. But like I said, it's very, very sad. The next one from Asylum. This is an interesting movie that Nick Carter wrote this movie, wrote the story for this movie and kind of put the movie together because he was one of the producers. And it's basically like getting together a ton of boy band members all acting this one. Most of them don't usually even act, except for Joey Fatone that I know is in a lot of stuff. But it's kind of got members of the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, 98 Degrees, and O-Town, and a number of other like music people from like VH1, a lot of different people that pop up in there, like Rico Suave and stuff in cameos. But it's a movie called The Dead Seven or Dead Seven, and it's kind of like a post-apocalyptic kind of movie, and like the zombie film, but like everyone's kind of like reverted back to being like the cowboy ways. They're all like, "Well, I never said," they go back to like the real cowboy western kind of days. And like Joey Fatone's in this movie, and he's got this insane mustache, and like everybody like really dirtied themselves up. Like they look like like flies would land on them and die. I've never seen a movie where like everybody looks so squiggled up and filthy dirty. Like they did a really good job like making everybody look like a disaster. Like look like if you would have whiffed them in, you might like knocked out from a stench. It had that look to it. Like everybody looked like, I don't know, if you've seen the movie, let me know if you kind of felt the same way, that everybody looks sweaty and squiggled up in this movie. But basically, though, the one actress from Mad TV is kind of like plays Apocalypso, and she's kind of like the woman who's like, collecting zombies and like be like her minions, and like she's going around from town to town killing people and stuff like that. And she's like the bad character, and it's basically like the Dead Seven. It's like all these different cowboy characters that kind of come together to kind of try and like take back the land and take it away from her, and like kill along the way to kill the zombies. But I thought this was like a really fun, just ridiculous, silly movie, and like and it was just cool to me too to see all these boy band members together acting in one thing like this. The next one from Full Moon is one I had never seen before. Really good transfer in this movie. It's an H.P. Lovecraft story called Lurking Fear. Like I said, I had never seen this one. Jeffrey Combs is in this movie. It's basically, though, this guy who ends up getting out of jail, and he goes to this funeral home where one of his friends was there, the guy that he used to know, and he's like talking to him about things and talking about his father, and he's telling him that his father hid all this money, his father who died, but he hid all this money in this coffin with his father. So the guy ends up wanting to go to this town to try and get the money back, but of course this town is where these weird creatures are living, and the creatures are like killing people in the town, and of course they like live in this cemetery, and that's where the father is buried with all this money. And then these other criminals kind of get a wind of this money, so they end up coming after him to try and get the money as well. So it's kind of like a whole to-do thing of them coming after him in this town, and also these creatures. And also it kind of has like a From Dusk Till Dawn kind of feel, because like it has a lot of stuff of them like kind of like locked away in this church trying to fight off these creatures. But like I said, a pretty fun movie. It has a commentary on here, deleted scenes in the original video zone. Like I said, I had never seen this before. But a pretty fun movie, though. The next one from Full Moon as well is Evil Bong 5, High 5. And I don't know if I've actually seen any of the other Evil Bong films at all. Like, I don't think for sure I ever have. And this is definitely like a stoner kind of comedy film. You know, my favorite stoner comedy is definitely Half Baked, though. This one definitely has like an H.R. Pufnstuf kind of feel, because it's like a lot of green screen stuff of them, like, because the characters are like stuck in this kind of like land of weed and like stuff like that. And they're kind of stuck there and not sure how they're going to get away. There's like this pervy old man there, and so it's really peculiar. But two of the characters end up like finding a way out, and they have to sell this like evil weed stuff that kind of gets people addicted, so they can kind of control them and turn them into like mindless zombies and stuff. And you know, the ginger dead man is kind of there as well. Like I said, I hadn't seen the other one, so I really can't for sure say exactly what's going on with some of this, so I don't really know all the characters and stuff like that. But it's just a fun, really weird stoner comedy one on here, and has on here a behind the scenes music video. The next one from Brain Damage Films is called the movie called The Dooms Chapel Horror. And this one has Bill Oberst Jr. in this movie playing this like cult leader, and it's basically this guy in the beginning of the movie. His brother ends up dying in this terrible accident, and like the whole town kind of like is like against this kid, and they think that he could have done something to prevent this from happening. And it's like years later, and these friends of his are kind of making a documentary about him, kind of talking about what had happened to his brother, and kind of following him because he's going to go back to this town after all these years, and so kind of following him. So it's done kind of found footage style, but he goes back there, and immediately like people are giving him weird looks, and this one real redneck guy in his truck is like, "I can't believe you came back here," showing your face, and he's like choking him out. And it's kind of like as soon as he gets back in this town, bad stuff start happening. People start coming after him. People start like attacking him. And it's kind of trying to figure out exactly what's going on, why they have all these problems with him, and why they're kind of blaming him. And Bill Oberst Jr. has a really good part in this movie, though, playing, like I said, like this kind of like leader of these group of these people. But a pretty cool one on here. Has a commentary track on here, and then a short film that gave birth to the film. But it's a pretty interesting one, though. And the next one is a movie from Midnight Releasing, Brain Damage as well, called Australiens. And this is a really ridiculous movie. It's kind of like these, in the beginning of the movie, this kid believes he sees this alien. It's set in Australia, and he ends up like, he's like sort of like always convinced he sees his aliens, and his friends are always clowning him, going, "Oh, yeah, I remember you said you saw those aliens," and they're kind of getting all kinds of crap about it and don't believe it. And then, of course, years later, the aliens have now come back, and they're kind of looking at him going, "Oh, I guess you were right, you really did see these aliens." And it's kind of like these friends that are all kind of in this band and stuff, like going out, getting attacked by these aliens, trying to escape together. And it's like, there's like really ridiculous scenes of like the alien ships and stuff attacking him, and the aliens too have these really odd looks to them, like really, really like 80s, 70s kind of weird looks and stuff. But for a movie, I think it was, like, I was looking online, it was only made for like $20,000, and they actually did a pretty good job, though, with the effects and giving this movie like a really pretty big vibe and big feel to the movie. But it has on here, though, a commentary track and a blooper reel on this one. But anyway, though, guys, that's all for the review portion of this video. Thanks again for watching, for subscribing, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.